Watching the video, there was a lot of positives coming out of the game. Probably what I'm most pleased with is the progress that we made on some of the focus areas that we had during the open week. I felt like our guys really took advantage of that extra week that we had and saw good progress in practice. And, just little things like third down. I think we're much improved, especially in third and long. I think we're 5 of 8, and that was an area that we really spent some time trying to clean some things up, and then also talking about getting off to a fast start. Scoring on the first drive, just cleaning up the execution, really kind of setting the tempo for the day. Did a good job of that. Really pleased with no turnovers. Trevor's doing a good job protecting the ball at quarterback, and then everybody that touched it, 2 years ago. We have a pretty veteran offense and turned the ball over 4 times with all those veteran guys. And that's why the game was the way it was 2 years ago. So that was really a big point of emphasis. I felt like NC State did a good job of really trying to tackle the ball and separate the ball from the ball carrier. So I was really pleased with that. Obviously, it was good to get the passing game going. 380 yards through the air, 10 explosive plays. I think we had 8 explosive passes. And like we talked about after the game, really have seen that in practice. Our execution of the passing game has been really good. It was great to get the opportunity in the game and guys to get out there and make the plays. And, the biggest positive, I feel like we're improving. We got some good momentum, but offensively, I see really good progress the last few weeks. And, the best teams that I've been around really continue to get better and better as the year goes on this time of year. And so that's what I expect as we move forward. Florida State, definitely going to be a big challenge. You can't get caught up with their record. I know that they won 3 of their last 4. But in my opinion, just watching a day and a half of video, I believe this will be the best defense that we've faced up until this point. Very athletic, really at every position. I believe they're number 8 in the country in rush defense, number 1 in the ACC, only giving up 5 rushing touchdowns, and number 3 in the country, number 1 in the ACC in sacks. Number 9, Brian Burns, I think 2nd in the country with 9 sacks. The leader has 9.5. Very athletic, very fast, probably the most explosive defensive end, in my opinion, that we will have faced since Jadeveon Clowney at South Carolina. I mean, he's a problem. That shows up real fast. You really have to know where he is on every snap and spend some time getting a plan for that. So that's what you expect when you play Florida State. I mean, I think they've been higher than us in recruiting rankings about 8 of the last 9 years. So they got a lot of great players, a very talented group, and really can tell the last couple weeks that they have made a lot of improvement. And it'll be a big challenge, but that's what you expect this time of year as we continue on our journey. So with that, I'll open up with questions.
It's always a nostalgic game for you going back there to Tallahassee.
Yeah, I mean, I got obviously a lot of great memories, but now it's hard to believe. We've been at Clemson with my dad, counting my dad's years, close to 20 years here now. The first couple of times that I went back to Tallahassee, it was definitely a different feeling being on the other sideline. But now, I mean, I've been on this side of that rivalry for so long. But it's when you think about the history of the ACC, at least in the years that I've been around and kind of watching it, it's really been Clemson and Florida State, and this game every year was always a pivotal game to that. And there's a lot of great players that are going to be on that field, talented guys on both sides of the ball. But yeah, it's always fun to go back to Tallahassee. I still have friends that I went to school with way back in the day that are, big Florida State fans, and usually come down before the game or after the game and, holler out to me and get to say hello to them.
What's your fondest memory from those days?
Fondest memory from those days at Florida State? I've told this story many times, but my probably fondest memory I have is 1991. I believe it was 91. Florida State was getting ready to play Miami, and I was sitting in it's either 89 or 91, but I think it's 91. I was sitting in Charlie Ward's locker before the game, and it was one of these number 1 versus number 2, something like that. And sitting in Charlie Ward's locker, Charlie's right in front of me on his stool, and Bobby Bowden walks in, and you can already hear the crowd out there, chanting all this stuff. And Bobby Bowden walks in before that game and gives a pregame talk. And it was at that very moment, I can remember like it was yesterday, I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. And I hadn't even been a player yet. I knew I wanted to do that, but I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to be a coach. And, and I give Coach Bobby Bowden a lot of credit because he was one of the few college coaches at that time that allowed the coaches' families and kids to have full access. We kind of get spoiled here with Coach Sweeney and doing that for all of our coaches' children. But, the experience that I had for, about 9-10 years there at Florida State, growing up in the locker room, being on the sidelines, the Wednesday night family meals. I can remember, when Charlie Ward was there, every Wednesday night we had family meal. After the meal, he'd come over to my table and get me and my brother and take us down to the gym, and we'd shoot baskets with him every Wednesday night, and I'm like 10 or 11 years old, and so just those memories, growing up around that and going to bowl games every year, that was a big part of why I knew that I wanted to go into coaching. And it's been fun watching Coach Sweeney here at Clemson now because he reminds me a lot of, a young Bobby Bowden, and just the way that he runs the program and the way he allows the families to be involved. I think another thing, you look at the coaching continuity that Coach Sweeney's had here is very similar to the rare continuity that Coach Bowden had when my dad was at Florida State for all those years. So definitely. And then I guess the other memory that I have, I don't know what year this was, but we actually got called up to Coach Bowden's office on a Wednesday night because the previous Saturday we played Tulane, and I believe by halftime it was like 49-0. And so myself and a few of the other coaches' kids decided that it'd be fun to go over to the other sideline, since it was such a boring game, and tackle the Green Wave mascot. So we went to the other sideline and snuck over there and started tackling the Green Wave mascot, and all the fans started cheering, and the more cheering they did, the more wrestling we did with their mascot. And that next Wednesday night, we got called up to Coach Bowden's office, and he had a talk with all the coaches' kids about proper sideline etiquette. That was another fun memory. Yeah, he took it pretty good. Whoever it was, he or she, I'm not sure. But, they took it pretty good.
You have two things. Your shooting and the gym with Charlie Ward, which you didn't seem to go NBA.
No, but the other interesting thing, Sam Cassell was there also. So, Sam didn't play football, he played basketball, but it was him and Charlie Ward and myself and my brother. No, that was it. But that was pretty cool. So to me, it's really cool, for us, whether it's Wednesday night or just another time when our families are here, and I'm seeing like Christian Wilkins out here playing basketball with, some of the other coaches' kids now. That just brings back awesome memories.
Are there other similarities you see between Bobby Bowden and Dabo as far as the way they, just go about their business, their coaching styles? Seems like both are great storytellers,
Yeah.
really good with the media, that type of thing.
Yeah, there are. I think Coach Bowden really was very genuine, and he was himself, and that's what everybody loved about him. I think it's what Coach Sweeney is, very genuine. What you see is what you get. And then also I think Coach Bowden, what I remember about him is he always took time to speak to people. It didn't matter if you're walking through. I can remember walking through the airport and the security person says something to Coach Bowden, and he would literally stop and walk over there and talk to him for a minute, as we were getting ready to go get on a plane or something. And, Coach Sweeney's the exact same way. He doesn't walk past anybody without speaking, and just having a genuine interest in other people and, making their day better. And then also I just felt like the, players at Florida State, they loved Coach Bowden, because of who he was, the type of man that he was, the type of example that he was. And part of me wanting to be a coach was not just the excitement of being around all those glory days of football, but it was watching the impact that Coach Bowden and my dad and the other coaches had on their players at the time. And even being a young kid, I could see that, and I thought that was pretty awesome. And I wanted to, one day be able to have an impact like that. And so for me, a very special moment, because I don't get a chance to see Coach Bowden a whole lot. Now, obviously, I'm busy, and he's retired and traveling. But it's just pretty awesome that the day before the national championship a couple years ago down in Tampa, Deshaun Watson was awarded the FCA Bobby Bowden award. And so we got to go the day before the national championship, go to the church where they were giving away the award in Tampa, and Bobby Bowden spoke the day before. And so that was pretty awesome. For me now, being an adult, someone I looked up to for all those years, and haven't really been able to sit down and hear him speak anything like that in a long time. In the day before one of our biggest moments, that was just kind of one of those God winks for me, that it's going to be a pretty special weekend.
In terms of Trevor, 3 starts in, do you see the game slow down? Did it need to slow down?
I thought he was, not that he was a guy that was super jittery in the first 2 starts, but I felt, we said that after the game and really talking yesterday, that he was much more comfortable from the very beginning all the way through. I think in the Syracuse game, he kind of, missed one of the signals there on the second play where we had the fumble, and then, Wake Forest, we